All right. So, as I promised, I'm going to do a video about once a week or so to kind of fill you in on my progress. And since my dad got me this cool hat, probably from the Salvation Army, not joking, I figured I'd wear it. You know what I'm saying? I've been wearing it around today, looking like, feeling like, Indiana Jones-ish kind of vibe going today. I don't even have a shirt on underneath, huh? Flex it out. Dumb. Oh yeah, you can see my ports. This is this is where they injected the chemotherapy. There's two separate ports here. They only use this one. It's like a. It's basically it's basically like when you got to blow up your raft or something and you pop the thing out. It's like that, but they pop it out and they can stick a syringe in there. Um, so that's what I got going on. I probably could take this off. I probably don't need that. I should have brought something. Oh, did I bring it? You know what? Got tea. Oh man, dang! I got some tea down there steeping. I gotta go check a look at it. This won't be that long. Um, my nose is dripping. That's a side effect of chemotherapy is drippy nose. I didn't know that until after the fact. So let me tell you what I've been through since my last video. I had to go down to University of Michigan for a week, 6 days. Um, it's getting harder and harder to see my dad. Because my dad was never really a good father. He wasn't like a good provider to me. He hoarded all his money. He's got plenty of money, but he never like really helped me out much. And when I was young, he just completely disregarded me and like everything was my own fault. He had nothing to do with the fact that he really didn't do anything to help raise me the right way. He'd take me fishing every other weekend. He'd take me on some camping trips and then just be gone. I mean, I don't have to deal with you. And nobody had to deal with me because nobody wanted to deal with me. And so my dad, I think, feels a lot of regret, whether he admits it or not, that that he could have done more. Now he's realizing, damn, man, my son might be dying. I think it's eating at him a little bit. So when I see him, he's just like, I love you, buddy. I don't know what to say. And here's a little money. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. No, I'm never going to turn around some money. I need all the help I can get, but it's a little late to try and buy your love from me. You know what I'm saying? But I still stop and see him. So after church last week, I stopped and went and saw him. And he gave me this cool fillet knife that we used to use when we go salmon fishing in Harbor Beach. Doesn't look like anything special, but it's kind of special to me because I remember that from my childhood, that fillet knife. It was a good one. Not a great one, but a good one. One today would be like that, about $50, because it's got a certain type of metal. There's a certain type of stainless steel metal that they work really good and hold maintain a blade for a long time, like a sharp blade, but then when they get dull, you got to really have like a professional sharpen them. But anyways, Maria's really good at sharpening, so I'll give it to her. Anyways, he gave me that and some fruit. He had a peach tree, which he knows I'm trying to eat all organic and like free range wild stuff now. He had this peach tree with like hundreds of these little peaches that don't look like much, man, but they were actually super delicious. And I grabbed like 50 of them, and I've been eating them just super good, really healthy. And so then went down to U of M. There's this cancer society that actually helps people like us pay for like their travel expenses and stuff. So we got first time you do it, they kind of cover your expenses, which was a lot. It would have been like $1,000 for the hotel and all that. So they helped cover with that. It was greatly appreciated. And anyone who's, by the way, who's donated to the Give Send Go campaign that my friend Bill started for me, whether I don't care if it's $5, I don't care if it's $10, $100, 500. There's been some people who dumped $500 on me. I'm just like, whoa. Some random strangers or just says anonymous and it's like three, four, $500. Some people are friends that I'm very good friends with. I'm just like, holy crap. And some people are like people I know don't have much money and they're still giving 100, 200, $500. So it's super, it makes me not lose faith in humanity that people still do care about people. And I think the better you are as a person and the more good you project into the world, the more apt you are to receive good back, you know what I'm saying, from good people. So that's that. So I go down there. First day I'm down there. Next, I go down there and like the next day early in the morning, I go in, they put me under anesthesia and they put these ports in me and which is kind of creepy. I don't really remember much of it. So it was like at one point he asked me to take a breath. I'm like, but it was I was pretty out of it. They give you fentanyl, believe it or not. This person, this spammer just won't stop calling me, man. They give you fentanyl and some kind of other drug to kind of calm you down, but I didn't really feel much afterwards. I went back, took a little bit of a nap, which is unlike me. I usually don't nap. The next day, all I had was some blood work to do. So I ended up meeting my father-in-law and his and his wife. He's got a younger wife. Um, who's like younger than my wife. Old Arabic guy, it's old Lebanese dude. Sam, if you see this and side, I can't even. It's so backwards. I can't see how this goes. There's a certain wet look to it, but anyways, look goofy as hell. Won't look like a cowboy hat, huh? Texas, man. Trigger. Yeah, he showed up and we had this I can't remember, I never remember the name of the restaurant, but it's an Arabic place in Ann Arbor. Really good food. And of course, he snuck and paid the bill before I could, which was pretty slick of him because he got up and was like wandering around. I'm like, what's he doing, man? And like wandered around the corner. I'm like, he lost, man. What's he? And then I said to we said to the waitress, I'm like, can we get the bill? And she's like, looking at him, she's like, oh, I'm so confused. I'm like, yeah, you can bring us the bill now. We've been waiting for like 20 minutes, you know what I'm saying, for the bill. So like, oh, I'm confused. She looks at him. I go, man, did you pay the bill? And he's like, what, you weren't going to beat me to it. I thought that was pretty gangster of him. The first time, it's a funny story. The first time I ever met the guy, and keep this in mind, by the way, I gotta share the story. It's a good story. My wife, this guy was an abusive Muslim tyrant, at least in my wife's eyes. She really hated him when she was young. He was from the old country, strict Muslim. He only wanted a son, kept having girls, had six girls. She was the oldest of the girls. So she bore the brunt of his brutality, verbal, emotional, physical abuse. He'd beat her up, slap her around, come home straight. He would pick her up from school, or she would have to come straight home, cook, clean, laundry, babysit, change diapers, all of this, and shut up or just get the backhand, bang. Couldn't use the phone, couldn't go out to school functions, couldn't do anything, couldn't go anywhere. If a boy called her house, well, a boy called her house one time. It was my friend Ricky, believe it or not. And he beat the crap out of her so bad that she tried to kill herself. Because because some boy called the house. She couldn't wear shorts. That was against her religion. So she couldn't go into gym class like everybody else. So during gym class, she'd have to be the girl sitting in the bleachers. She couldn't expose her legs. Couldn't wear makeup. And the crazy thing is she was beautiful too, like super beautiful, like just knockout beautiful. She looked like a young Tiffany Amber Thiessen, if you remember Tiffany Amber Thiessen when she was young, like in 90210 days. That's what my wife looked like. She had those same like bright blue eyes and same facial features, and she was beautiful. But with no makeup and her hair down and a baggy sweatshirt on, she wasn't very noticeable. I went to school there and never even noticed her. Never saw her, never have no memory of her whatsoever. And she has no memory of me other than my name. She remembers seeing my name, seeing pictures of me or whatever, but has no distinct memory, even though we went to the same school and were in the same class the same year. And there was only like one hallway of like 100 lockers of kids that are from our eighth grade class. And I must have passed her every day 50 times in the hallway and never saw her. But anyways, he tried to sell her off like, well, her great escape had always been books. So her mother would take her to the library and she'd get like 10 books out and she'd read them all, like 10 books a week, every week. So she read basically every book in her library and then started over and did it again. And so books were her escape and her dad would beat her. Um, anyways, I got a message from someone, but, anyways, so she would, escape her father's tyranny by reading, right? And so she hated him, and she was like the Cinderella of her five siblings. And so when she got like in high school, she got a job at the bookstore, right? And that kind of got her out and made her a few bucks. And then eventually she did start secretly dating like the captain of the football team, believe it or not. And it was her boyfriend. They were in a serious long-term relationship, and he tried to marry her off to a random like Arabic dude who was like 35 years old, a doctor from California. I think he was trying to sell her for $100,000, $150,000. Never met her. The guy never met her. And she was like 19 and beautiful, and he was like 35 and rich. And she said, no. And he said, and the father said, then get out. And he kicked her out, and she never went back. And she went and moved in with her boyfriend. They got an apartment, and they stayed together for 10, about 8 or 9 more years. And then he was just kind of a deadbeat dud, kind of just like a pot's head, just a pot smoking kind of a loser. No offense to him, you know what I'm saying? At the time, he just didn't have any ambition, and she wanted more out of life. She wanted, to grow her career and take things to the next level and interact in a different type of social circles that that she'd never been part of, instead of this small, like lower middle class circle where she grew up, where she's from, where everybody's just kind of happy to be content to be part of. She's like, I want more out of life. So I want to see things. I want to learn things. She's super smart. And so she just found her way and worked her way up the corporate ladder and ended up getting a good job, making like six figures. And anyways, not sure where I'm going with all that, but oh, her dad. Yeah. So she didn't talk to her dad for like 25 years, which is crazy, right? And she told me these stories in prison. We were writing back and forth. Me and Maria wrote thousands of pages of letters back and forth, and we didn't really, you know, she didn't really tell me a whole lot about him, but she just explained, like, because when he talked about how he'd beat her up or brutalize her and stuff like that, it made my skin crawl. It made me just want to kill the guy. You know what I'm saying? And I told her if I ever see the dude, I'm gonna grab him, by his gruff, because he's an old man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna beat up an old man, but I'm gonna grab him by the gruff and shake him up and be like, hey man, you see how defenseless you are right now? You see how that feels? I said I could smash your freaking face in if I wanted. Or I could just knock every bone out of your face, crush it in if I wanted. That's how she felt when you were her father as a child, how you abused her. You made her feel like, Dad, I should smash your freaking face in, old man, and throw him. And I told myself, I see him, I'm going to do that. But she then, after I'd been out, I don't know, about 7 years, 8 years, she like decided to bury the hatchet and reach out to him. And, he apologized and he said, like, I just didn't want you ending up being like all these American girls are just whores, and they're just, and of course, all his daughters, not all of them, but several of them ended up being kind of hoochies. They got a bunch of baby daddies. They're just train wrecks. They're everything he didn't want them to be. They're everything he tried to keep them from being, but he tried too hard to keep them from that. So they just ran to it. And but Maria's like the smartest one of the bunch. She's like the smartest, most successful, happiest one of the bunch. Yeah, with a happy marriage. Anyway, so he said he's going to come see us, right? So he said he was in town from Lebanon. He has a house here too. He's kind of well off. At least he was. He lost a bunch of money. That in Lebanon, he had all this investments and money in the bank, and they just seized it all. That's what they do in Lebanon. Like if you're an American citizen and you just have money in bank there, they just take it and say, "Sorry, we'll give you some couple $1,000 here and there, but you're keeping all your money, man. Sorry about your luck." It's a true story. Look it up. And so he said he's coming. So I'm driving. I'd posted pictures of my Jeep on Facebook and stuff, and he follows me on Facebook, I guess. And I have this big black Jeep Commander with on 24-inch rims, limousine tint, and on the back it says Arthing Apparel, and it says To Be a King Novel on like .com, to be a king novel.com, and arthingapparel.com. And so one day I'm coming back from the gym, right? It so happened I went to Alpena to the gym, which is a little gym that I don't even have a membership to, rather than the gym in Rogers City where I had a membership to, because I must have had some errand or chore or something to run in Alpena, which is about 25 miles from my house. And Rogers City is about 30 miles, so it's kind of about the same, and or basically the same. And so I'm driving back, and like there's this car gets behind me, right? And I totally forget that this guy's coming to see me. And so I'm driving down, and this every turn I make, this car is like right on my butt. And I'm like, dude, I live in the middle of nowhere, man. Like I'm in nobody's going where I'm going. I'm in the middle. I live in the middle of nowhere. Anyone who's ever been here is just like, dude, you could take a dart and just say that's no, middle of nowhere, throw a dart and wherever it hits, like that's my house. There's no, you just can't pick a place more remote. And this guy's following me the whole freaking way, man. Then I'm like, and I turn on my road and I go to pull in my driveway. The guy gets behind me. It's like this old man. Now my hackles are up, my neck and the hair on my neck stands up. I get out of my Jeep, big old 240-pound gorilla just worked out. I open the door and like his window goes down. I said, "What's up, old man? You got a problem?" That's what I said. I said, "What's up, man? Can I help you? You got a problem or something?" And he goes, I heard that someone who lives here likes cannolis. This old Arabic dude. And then it hit me. So he pulls out this box of Vito's cannolis because he heard that I like cannolis from my wife. My wife says, "You want to win? You want the way to Gunner's heart? Bring him a box of cannolis from Vito's. They got to be from Vito's." So the guy goes all the way across town to Vito's, buys a couple dozen cannolis in a big box, and he's like he's scared. You can tell he's like you can tell he's scared, because he knows what his wife, my wife must have told me about him, and probably I had reservations and aspirations of smashing him. So now he's this old man. I jump out like, "What's up, old man? You following me when you got a problem?" And he's like, "Oh, I heard somebody likes cannolis from Vito's." And I felt really bad. And I got in the car and I started laughing. I forget. And I bring him in the house and we talk and we become cool. That same day, he loves fishing though. Big into fishing. Big. So I take him to a spot where I think I can get him some fish. So the first thing I do is I take him to the spot and hook him up, and we catch a bunch of fish. Catch some bass. Like he gets a nice big bass, some bluegills, and rock bass, and he's so happy to be catching all these fish. And he keeps them all. He wants to eat them all. Like so, he wants to clean them and eat them. I'm like, that's a little bit small there, Sam. But no, they're fine. They're good. I'm okay. So then I said, I want to. Well, now we're going to go to my other spot, which is the salmon run was just starting, so it was like late September, first week of October, salmon run. And I'm like, I'm gonna fish now. So you're not gonna be able to like follow me into the river because I have waders and stuff, but you can kind of walk along the shore. And if you see like a hole or a rin or a rough, you can throw your worm down in there and you might be able to pop a bass. And so he starts following me. Well, we're in there, we're not there like 5 minutes, and I hook and bang, I hook into this massive king salmon, and it's going splash, and I go ripping down river after it, and I come back like 10 minutes later, and I'm carrying this big giant fish. He's like, "Oh my God." You catching these little fish. I catch a big 25-pound king salmon. It was funny. And so he had a good time. That was the first and only time I met him before this time when he came to Ann Arbor with his Somali wife and bought me a nice dinner. So then I started chemo the next day. And you hear a lot of not good stuff about chemo. I've had a lot. Like I sold my canoe to this guy because I never used it. And I sold to this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I had to go through chemo, and my wife had to go through chemo. He's like, it's horrible, it's like killing you. It's killing you to save you. It's totally horrible, and it's so sick. It kills." And I'm just like, oh, everybody. I'm hearing all these horror stories about chemo, and you're this is how it kills you, and it's so, oh my God, jeez. And I'm looking forward to this. But then I don't know, maybe because I'm young and I'm athletic, and I've always worked out, and I always stayed in good shape, trying to eat good. My body's a little bit stronger, more resilient. Maybe it's the type of chemo drugs that they gave me. They did give me some nausea medications that work really good. And so first day wasn't too bad. I was a little bit nauseous towards the midday, and I took my pills. I was fine. Still had an appetite, still ate. Not a lot, not as much as I normally would, but still like 80% of probably what I normally would. Day two, same thing. Nothing really changed. I was kind of lethargic. I did take a little bit of a nap throughout the day. I worked on my computer, on a couple of book projects I'm working on, finishing up the script that I'm writing for a Russian author and a pitch package. And I'm also coaching a woman who's wrote a book on, basically showing her how to make it a better book. So I have to read her book, and then make notes in there for her. And then I have a couple ghostwriting projects, big ones, big full books that I'm writing. One's for a former Baltimore drug kingpin turned like successful entrepreneur who's a pretty brilliant guy tied to the mafia, just pretty gangster dude, but not like gangster, like killer, like more just like a slick mastermind, business mastermind. And then the other guy's the owner and founder and CEO of X Social. So if you haven't looked that up, look it up. ACTS Social, like Acts, the Bible Acts, so Book of Acts, Social. Um, it's a new social networking platform, Christian based, God inspired. God visited him, and I won't say a dream. It was kind of in real life. God spoke to him out loud, and he heard God's voice say, this is what I want you to do with your tech company. Forget all these other apps and applications and things you're making money. I want you to build this. And he like, you know, when God tells you do something, you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're gonna go, well, wait a minute, did I just hear that right? No, no, everything. And he spent all his money, sold his house, mortgaged his house. I mean, everything to get this thing started. He's got a really remarkable story, and I've written his autobiography, and it's a great story. It's a cute story. He's a small town guy from small town, Texas. Not even small town, like nowhere, rural Texas, kind of like where I live in rural Texas. Just nothing, just a little farm boy. And but also with a good story because he's a rabble rousing rebellion, just always in trouble. Should have killed himself a million times on like mechanized toys and go-karts and dune buggies and motorcycles and mini bikes. But every time he like should have been killed, like he walked away like, wow, that was easy. I mean, he had a YZ 500 and he wrapped it around a bunch of trees in the woods doing like 80 miles an hour. And he like walked away with just a broken collarbone. You know what I'm saying? Another time he flipped this dune buggy go-kart thing over, like landed upside down. Should have decapitated him. Somehow he lives, cut his fingers off one time by grabbing a machete stuck in the tree, and he grabbed it and slid it, cut his fingers off. And my mom, I cut my fingers off, get in the car, whatever, and they sewed him back on. But anyways, so that's what I did when I was at the hospital working on stuff like that. And then day three kind of hit a little harder because by day three at night, was the hardest part about the chemo for me, and it's still like this, is not sleeping good. I'm not sleeping good. I'm only sleeping like an hour at a time. Then I'm up, I gotta pee. An hour at a time. You kind of can smell the chemical smell on my skin, you know, um, but not terribly. Like my wife said, her mother, when she was having chemo, just reeked of like these horrible chemicals and drugs. I'm not that bad, but you can still smell it a little bit if you come up and sniff me. But peeing every 45 minutes ain't no fun. And it's just, plus you wake up in the middle of the night and you're nauseous. You know how you get the slime in your throat when throat starts to water. By the way, quick funny side story. Before a couple weeks ago, I got one of the alternative cancer treatments is using bitter apricot seeds, right? And there's a lot of research and a lot of great anecdotal stories about how people take it and it's helped, cure or fight the disease. So my wife orders me some. I get the bag. The print on it's super small on eyes. I can't read the print on anything anymore. It's just, everything's so small. So I have to give it to her to read. While she's reading, I grab a handful of them. I'm like, chew them up. Probably 10 or 12 of them. I mean, they're like little, almost like sunflower seeds, but a little thicker and fatter and smaller. I'm crunching them up, swallow them. And then she says, start off with one or two and see how your body reacts, and then give it a day and go from there. They are highly toxic and they can, poison you. And I don't know if they have arsenic or cyanide or whatever, like apple seeds or something. And she's reading me that, and I'm like, I just ate like 12 of them. And she's like, oh no. I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I had never force puked myself before in my entire life. Never force puked. I tried once, believe it or not, when I was doing some bodybuilding shows when I was 19. I was at my adult ed high school, and the food cart goes by and there's like pecan pie, and that's my kryptonite, pecan pie. These little like pre-cut pieces of pecan pie and the milk, and I grabbed a piece of pecan pie and like two milks, and I said, screw it, man. Hadn't eaten any carb for days, for like weeks. No sugar, no carbs for like weeks. And I saw it. I'm just like, I gotta have that. So I just scarfed it down, ate it really fast and washed it down. And then I felt really bad. Like my trainer was Billy Toko. It was a cousin of mine. And I knew I wasn't gonna be able to tell him I ate that pecan pie. So I'm like, I gotta puke this up. So I go in the bathroom and I'm like shoving a pen down my throat. Somebody walks in there and I hear, And then they're like, man, you all right in there? I'm like, well, I'm trying to puke up this pie I just ate. Doing bodybuilding. She's like, blah, blah. Never did. My body wouldn't give it up. It was like, no way, I'm not giving that up. Nothing you can say or do, not gonna make me give up that pie. So, but I actually think it actually helped me because it kind of like I needed them carbs. Like I felt like I was veinier and bigger, and just for a couple days I looked better. But anyways, but these apricot seeds, I go down, I go in the bathroom, I say, I gotta puke. So I grab, my finger doesn't work. So I grab a toothbrush and these, and I puke it all up. It took me like 5 tries, but I was able to get it all up, and I knew it was all up because I like before I ate that, like half hour before I ate that, I think I drank some like orange juice, ginger orange juice, and I started puking that up too. So I knew I got it all. So I was fine. But anyways, so and I had to stop taking my ivermectin and fenbendazole and stuff, well, for chemo because it can have interactions. But so now I come home, I finish up Friday, Saturday, I jump in the car, we drive, you know, 5 hours. Maria uh in the morning goes grocery shopping to Whole Foods because we don't have a Whole Foods up here, and spends like $500 on, all organic meat, grass-fed everything, organic everything, a bunch of fresh berries and fruits and things, all the things that I'm going to need to, like, overload my body with superfoods and nutrients while I'm fighting this cancer between chemotherapies. I have another chemo session coming up in a couple weeks, but I mean, sure enough, I came home Saturday, uh, and Sunday I went hunting, like, which was yesterday. I could have hunted today, but it's a little windy and the rut is not like peak. I think I spooked a buck yesterday, which was a mistake. I shouldn't have been hunting. The buck was out there moving, like laying down territory, looking to establish his scrape line and rub lines. But I spooked a doe that spooked him and then told him that something was here. So now I may have lost an opportunity for that buck. So I shouldn't be hunting right now, not for another 7 to 10 days. And today is the October 27th, so I shouldn't be hunting till about October 7th. Um, Go Israel. And so then I'll hunt for like 4 or 5 days hard if the weather's good and the wind is right. And then I have to go back for another chemo session. Um, but so that's where I stand now. Um, I don't feel too sick or janky, but I will say this. I got to show you this thing. See this freaking thing here? This little thing? Can you read it? Get a look at this thing. Nulesta or whatever it's called. Nulesta. I want you to take a look at that and take a guess at what that thing might cost. Take a guess. Put it down in the comments right now. Pause. What do you think that little thing costs? What it is, it's an immune booster that after chemo, because chemo kills your immune system and your white blood cells and stuff, you're susceptible to infection and colds and viruses. So they want your white blood cell count just tanks out, and you're like you're anemic or whatever they call it. So they put this little thing on you. It sticks to you, like they program it and they stick it to you, and it like jabs in you. I put mine down here. It can go on the back of your arm or whatever. I put mine on my like side of my stomach because I think that would be that was going to be the safest place for it. But I did snag it on something and almost rip it off, but it didn't. And so this little thing here, $20,000. 27 hours after they discontinue my last dose of chemotherapy, 27 hours to the minute, this little thing goes beep, 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 starts blinking green and pumping this drug into me. And it has a little, like, it shows if it's empty or full. And so it pumped it into me. And they said, don't knock this thing off because if it doesn't work, you got to come all the way back to U of M, which is a 10-hour round trip because nothing they can do for you up there. You got to come back and get another one, 20 G's. So, anyways, all went well. So it's called I think it's called Neulasta, whatever. Some freaking pharmaceutical companies making billions from it. I'm sure because every cancer patient gets it now. Every chemotherapy patient, which are millions. By the way, there are 7 million diagnosed cancers, 7 million cancer diagnoses every year. I think that's just in the United States. 7 million just in the United States. And if, let's say 4 million of them get chemo, multiply that by 20,000, you're talking $20 billion. One little drug, $20 billion. I love big pharma. I hate them, but I respect the hustle. I mean, they're evil. There's nothing good about it. They could cure cancer. There are cures for cancer. And I'm not talking about the divine intervention. I'm talking God has provided us with cures, whether it be dandelion root, bitter apricot root, or bitter apricot seed, black walnut seed, or oil. Um, just done much certain mushrooms, different herbs, different supplements, different protocols, even food grade hydrogen peroxide, just alkaline stuff, on and on and on. There's cures, but there's no money in those cures because they're cheap and they can be bought over the counter. Plus the nutrition part. You can avoid cancer by simply just eating as little of commercial food as possible. Stick with all organic, free range, grow your own, hunt your own meat, fish your own fish, and stay away from McDonald's and processed chips and burgers and junk and sugar and junk. If you stay away from that, you'll probably never catch cancer. But most people don't stay away from it, so they're going to get cancer. Most people are, one out of every two people will get diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. Most will survive, at least for a while. Most will survive, probably 80%, but 20% won't. 20% will, just won't figure it out. They don't have the will, they don't have the money, they won't have the means or to research it. They'll just do whatever the doctors tell them. Chemo, radiation, boom. It ain't gonna work because they're not eating good, they're not supplementing with alternative medicine, and they're just gonna fizzle out and die. But you'll never hear about these alternative medicines. You can't search them, you can't Google search them because Big Pharma controls Google and the search findings, search results. So they make sure the first literally like 500 pages are all positive pro big pharma results. Listen to your oncologist. Listen to the traditional protocols. It's chemo, it's radiation, it's surgery, it's this, that, on and on and on and on and on. Every study you'll find, every research paper you'll find, every peer-reviewed thing you'll find, every for pages and pages and pages. Then you get 100 pages in, 200, you start to see a guy says, you know what? I had this kind of cancer, diagnosed 6 months to live, terminal cancer. I took bitter apricot seed and ivermectin. Boom. Within 6 weeks, the tumors were gone. I lived. I've been cancer-free for 4 years now. Bang, there's one. Then you go another 10 pages, there's another one. Then you go another 20 pages, and there's 10 more. Then you go another 20 pages, there's 50 more. And you go on, and then you go on more, and there's Reddit and on and on. And before you know it, there's thousands of people going, I took ivermectin and cured my cancer. I took this, but it's all buried because there's no money in big pharma for, cures. They're all about the treatment. $20,000, whatever this was, $20 billion to make this. They need that money. And so they want you sick. They want you with AIDS. They want you, and they could cure AIDS. No, they want to treat your AIDS. They could cure cancer. They want to treat your cancer. Chemo is a multi-trillion-dollar business. And so you got to be careful. And, so my wife's a researcher. I'm a researcher. I have all these friends doing research. My phone is inundated every day with people who are just like, yo, my mom beat cancer with this, my cousin that, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. So I'm incorporating all these different alternative medical protocols and supplements and herbs and mushrooms and all these things. So I believe that the chemotherapy in my approach was obviously God first. God's always going to make the final decision. But he gave me this chemotherapy. It made it happen pretty easily. It was like they paid for it. That's to weaken and shrink the tumor. Now I attack it with my immune system. I attack it with my strengthening my immune system through super powered superfoods and nutrition. And then I use proven, but not peer-reviewed proven, but proven cancer fighting strategies like ivermectin, fenbendazole, and all these other things, and methylene blue, and all these things, and then attack it from the holistic approach. And I think, when after I go through the second round of chemo and then I get tested, they're gonna go, whoa, man, the cancer tumors like really much smaller and shrunk. So now I'm gonna be like, either if you're gonna do surgery, just move the main nucleus. I don't want you moving, removing my stomach, my spleen, my pancreas, my kidney, my gallbladder, my this, that. I mean, they're talking about removing all this stuff. I'm like, then you have no quality of life. Then you're dying. You know, your body can't function without all those organs. You can kind of keep it alive with pills and like enzymes, and you're a dead man walking. So no, take out the main core of the thing, and then I'll fight it my way the rest of the way. And if I don't, I don't. But if I do, you know what I'm saying? But those oncologists and these doctors, they don't like that. They don't want you to try. They don't believe you can beat it holistically. They don't, because they see hundreds of patients and they all die. And because most of them are just either naive or too stupid or too lazy or just don't care enough to like try and fight holistically. They just do what they're told. So every once in a while, when someone comes along, it's like, oh, listen, you can do this, but I'm going to fight it this way too. And they're like, oh, that can interact with blah, 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 blah. Shut up. You know, all you are is a bot. You go to school, they tell you what to think, say, and do. You come back out and you follow the protocol. Who do you think's paying the endowments at the college you went to pay the professors to teach you what they want you to know, which is only believe in these peer-reviewed research files and studies. You mean to tell me in the last, 50 years we spent $27 trillion on cancer research, and the best you got is chemotherapy? And then if I guarantee you, if I put a think tank together of the greatest masterminds in the world, scientific masterminds in the world, and said, I'm going to give you $1 billion endowment to figure it out, and the winner, the person who cracks the code and cures my cancer, I'm giving a cash donate and cash $1 billion in cash to you. Go. In 6 months, they'll have a cure for my cancer. But of course, they might end up killing that guy because now he made $1 billion, but he also is costing Big Pharma trillions of dollars now. So they're going to kill him, and they're going to take the findings and sweep them under the rug, and you'll never hear from that guy again. Or maybe they just disgrace him. Like, this guy's lying. He didn't cure nobody's cancer. It's just bull crap, it's voodoo. The guy he was working with got some spontaneous remission, got lucky. That's it. Nothing the guy did, mattered. This isn't a solution. This is just a, witch hunt or whatever. But trust me, if you give somebody $1 billion endowment, meaning unlimited funds to do your testing and research and team, and then $1 billion motive to say, he could even say, listen, I'm gonna split the billion up 10 ways. So the top 10 researchers and scientists who helped me crack this code, each going to get $100 million. So you can do with it what you will. They're all going to be like, cancer be cured in no time, no time. And that's how things work. That's kind of how they with the whole jab, with the COVID-19 jab, they it wasn't that they were looking to cure anything. They were looking to make money. That was it. How can we get this goofy ass vaccine up and running to the point where you can fool the public into thinking it's going to be good for them? It's going to help them not die from COVID. And COVID is a joke. It's a cold. It's a common cold. Everybody gets a common cold. It's the flu. It's bad for some. Obviously, the flu is bad for old people. They get sick. They die sometimes. 1%. Same thing with COVID. 1% is no different. But they use the media to trick everybody into thinking this is this horrible, like bubonic plague. And then they say, okay, now we got a vaccine. They have a vaccine. They make $20 trillion from it. Everybody's happy. Now we all know it's causing deaths and heart attacks and people having strokes and dying left and right. But they made sure to sign up a waiver when they put it out there when you get the jab. Like, we're not responsible. No matter what happens to this thing, you're just a guinea pig. Like, what I mean, sorry about your luck if something happens. And now tens of millions of people are dying. I know the comorbidity rate and heart attack increased by like 40,000%, right, since the jab. Like, really? Anyways, so that's where I stand now, and I'm gonna get back to work, probably go get something to eat, and then I'll edit this video up and post it, and you can kind of see where I am. Um, Kind of wish I could work out, guys, because I think working out makes a big difference. I think working out has slowed the cancer. It's one of the reasons why my cancer was less aggressive than a lot of cancers are or can be, because I'm in my basement just working out. I'm outside hiking miles in the woods while I'm trout fishing and salmon fishing. I'm just crushing it. I'm using my body. And that oxygen rich environment is what kills cancer. So, And I'm also a guy who does intermittent fasting. So meaning I only eat like in about an 8 hour window every day, if that, like a 6 hour window. So like last night I ate around 9 o'clock, right? Maybe 10 at the latest. Had some yogurt and berries. I didn't eat again today till like 3 o'clock. So however many, that's like 15, 16 hours, whatever it is. So that kind of intermittent fasting is actually really helps slow down the cancer and kill the cancer and helps your body's mitochondria and all that. I just did that naturally. It wasn't something I knew to do to fight cancer. It's just kind of what I did. Like I just knew that I didn't need to eat. I don't need to eat in the morning. I don't need to eat at noon. Like in the afternoon around 2, 3, it's time to eat something, but nothing big. Just a small meal, whether a small sandwich, a couple bites of leftovers, whatever. Then in the evening, 5 or 6, I eat a decent sized meal like before I work out or something. And after I work out, I would consume most of my calories, like 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And a lot of the times it wasn't good. Sometimes I'd eat sugary cereal or, you know, yeah, I had a problem, a penchant for sugary cereal, but I cut that out a long time ago. And that's how I lost 27 pounds, believe it or not. It kind of cut up. You can see it in my face that I'm all down because I just, once I had the heart attacks, I was like, I got to cut out this junk food. And I knew I had the tumors. And I knew if they were cancerous, they were fed, those cancerous tumors are fed by sugar. So I was like, nah, I'm cutting all that garbage. I still eat some, but then once I found out for sure I had cancer, then I was like, nothing. And so here I am. Anyways, God bless you. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my rantings and ramblings, and little side tendrils and trails about my wife and her father and whatnot. So now it's back to work for the love of God. The story of Gunnar Allen Lindblom coming soon, the documentary. Hopefully early this spring. It'll be available on Netflix, HBO, Amazon, Stars, Hulu. Who knows? We don't know yet. For now, I'm out. I'm just saying. Dorky hat and all. Cowboy.